This is an article that I came across from Fortune, and we definitely need to discuss it. The new American workplace crisis, return to office mandates leads to a working mom exodus. This is important because women work and women are providing for themselves and their families. And so when working moms exit the workforce, this impacts whole families. All right, let's get into this article. It says the historic surge in employment among working mothers seen during the pandemic has reversed sharply in 2025. As new data reveal tens of thousands of American women, especially those with young children, leaving the workforce. According to federal labor statistics analyzed by the Washington Post, the labor force participation rate for women ages 25 to 44 with children under 5 fell nearly 3 percentage points between January and June of 2025, reaching its lowest level in over 3 years. Workforce trends and gender gaps. Fortune's analysis integrates these workforce shifts with a broader view of corporate America's changing priorities. Our coverage finds while flexible and remote work previously enabled women, particularly mothers, to remain employed, return to office requirements have pushed many out, with CEOs openly acknowledging greater losses of female talent. Surveys show that women who work from home report less feedback and mentorship than their in office peers, raising new barriers to career advancement. Mothers working remotely often face the motherhood penalty, less pay, fewer raises, and limited promotion prospects, while those forced back in person are sometimes left with the only option to quit. The motherhood penalty is more than just the people that are working remotely. The motherhood penalty is just for mothers, period, because even in office mothers face this motherhood penalty. Despite a recent record in female workforce participation, the disappearance of flexibility risks lasting damage to women's financial independence and retirement readiness. The way these corporations are doing mothers, the way they do not want women to have any flexibility, it speaks to why the birth rate needs to plummet to hell. Because this country, the patriarchy, men in general don't support women and children. And so if they want to snatch women's financial independence and flexibility, women need to continue to close down their wombs. All right, let's continue with the article though. Women flee the workforce. Labor force participation of mothers with young children dropped from 69.7 to 66.9 between January and June of 2025. 212,000 women aged 20 and older have left the workforce since January, compared with 44,000 men who joined it. Full-time office requirements among Fortune 500 firms rose to 24% in the second quarter of 2025, up from 13% at the end of 2024. Flexibility vanishes, mothers exit. This pullback follows the widespread rollback of remote and flexible work policies that initially ushered many mothers back to the job market. Major corporations and the federal government have now instituted strict return to office mandates, requiring 5 days a week in-person attendance. For many mothers, the loss of flexibility means a logistical and financial reckoning. JP Morgan Chase, AT&T, and Amazon, among others, ramped up their in-office requirements in 2025, with Fortune reporting that the share of Fortune 500 companies with full-time mandates nearly doubled since late 2024. Employers report difficulty replacing departed female talent, with overall productivity suffering as a result, because yes, women are productive employees. Childcare costs and cultural shifts bring complications. Compounding these changes are rising childcare costs, closures of childcare centers due to lapsing federal aid, and a noticeable trend towards traditional gender roles. Social media movements like #TradWife encourage women to prioritize home and children, amplified by calls from political leaders for more parents to stay home. For many families facing unaffordable childcare, the decision is an economic necessity rather than a cultural choice. Black women and those with college degrees have been hit especially hard. The unemployment rate for Black women climbed to its highest in nearly 4 years. Federal layoffs and the dismantling of diversity initiatives eliminated stable jobs that disproportionately supported minority women. Why it matters. Experts interviewed by both the Washington Post and Fortune warn that these trends, if left unchecked, will have huge implications for women's lifetime earnings, career prospects, and retirement security. With breaks in employment history, women frequently return to lower paying jobs and face diminished opportunities for advancement. Studies, including a 2024 University of Pittsburgh analysis, similarly show that aggressive return to office mandates have led to a loss of senior employees, many of them women, threatening productivity and competitiveness. This part right here with black women being unemployed and being laid off disproportionately. This is a systemic way of harming the black community, even when people don't understand that this is going to harm more than just the black woman. Because typically, even in general, women spend more of their income on their families. And pair that up with systemic racism, black women in the black community do rely on black mothers as far as the income to support families. Many times the children, but oftentimes elderly family members as well, and other extended family members. So this is a way that systemic racism and sexism go together to do irreparable harm to the black community. I know on social media, black women get a lot of heat for attempting to get their education and career goals in alignment, but we're doing this for survival's sake. And when you strip women of that financial security, you're stripping black families of financial security as well. This is an article that speaks to how men versus women spend their wages. So this says male versus female spending statistics. Who spends more? It says while global consumer spending is relatively evenly distributed between the sexes, there are places where men spend more than women and vice versa. I know women get saddled with the stereotypes of being spenders, but we are major spenders, but typically the way we are spending for the household and for the children, it accounts for most of our wages. All right, it says cliches abound about male and female spending habits. Despite gender stereotypes, how men and women spend money can provide insight into trends and patterns that have a broader economic impact on everyone. Key takeaways in this article: women drive the bulk of purchases and account for 80% of consumer spending. 72.8% of women are the primary grocery shoppers for their families. Women tend to spend more on personal care products, health care, housing, and transportation, while men spend more on new vehicles, tobacco, and alcohol. On average, men spend about $3,400 monthly, while women spend about $3,200 monthly. So those numbers are about the same, but women are spending more in the household. Men are spending things on vehicles, smoking, and drinking. So there is a marked difference. All right, it says, despite spending more on household expenses, women earn less than men. And we've already kind of talked about where women are spending more on the household versus men. According to Capital One Shopping, women spend more as a percentage of their total income after taxes on housing, food at home, healthcare, along with apparel and education and personal care. And you can look here to see the percentages, but it's just showing the percentages of male versus female shoppers. It says, despite this, there is a gender pay gap in 2023. Women only make 83.7% compared to men, according to the Department of Labor. The disparity is even more significant for Black and Hispanic women. Men are paid an average of $1,200 per week, while women are paid just over $1,000. It says $1,002. In 29% of marriages in 2023, both spouses earn about the same. 55% of men out-earn women, and 16% of women are the primary breadwinners in their families. And the sources of this information: Capital One Shopping Research, the Department of Labor, and Pew Research Center. So when women are forced out of the workforce, it impacts our financial futures. So yes, it does that. But in the right now, it impacts families because women are the ones that are typically spending more money on food, housing, personal care, and all of that. If people don't see the bigger picture, they really should start looking a little bit harder, because what is about to happen in this economy is going to impact whole families and communities, cities, and states. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think about all of this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.